जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंसा परिव्रचार्या सुप्रसत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace Abhay Channavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada की, आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, वृंदावन धाम की, मथुरा धाम की, नवदीप धाम की, श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी की, यमुना माई की, श्रीमती तुलसी देवी की, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपस्ताय भुक्ले श्रीमते बीर कृष्ण गोस्वामिनीति नामने नमो हमसा निकाशया प्रभुपदा प्रियाते सुदृष्टि निष्ठा पेमतस्त्र वाक्यानुवादने. Hey, Hare Krishna, good morning. Did Devamrita Maharaj, he covered only one shloka, so it's 22 today, okay. All right. So we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 18, and the chapter 18 is titled Prithu Maharaj Milks the Earth Planet, and we are reading from text 22. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, so text 22. Tathahayo danda sukhaha Sarpanagascha takshakam Vidhaya vatsam duduhur Bilapatre vishampayaha Tathahayo danda sukhaha Sarpanagascha takshakam Vidhaya vatsam duduhur Bilapatre vishampayaha Tathahayo danda shukaha Sarpanagascha takshakam Vidhaya vatsam duduhur Bilapatre vishampayaha Tatahayo danda sukhaha Sarpanaga satakshakam Vidhaya vatsam duduhu Bilapatre vishampayaha Tathahayo danda sukhaha Sarpanaga satakshakam Vidaya vatsam duduhu Bilapatre vishampayaha Tatahayo dandasukaha Sarpanagascha takshakam Vidaya vatsam duduhu Bilapatre vishampayaha. Okay. Tatha. Similarly. Ahaya. Snake without hoods. Dandashukaha. Scorpions. Sarpaha. Cobras. Nagaha. Big snakes. Cha. And Takshakam. Takshaka, chief of the snakes. Vidaya, making. Vatsam, calf. Duduhu, milked out. Bila patre, in the pot of snake holes. Visham, poison. Payaha, as milk. Okay, so the translation for this morning's shloka that we just recited in Sanskrit. The translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we can all repeat. Thereafter, cobras and snakes without hoods, large snakes, scorpions, and many other poisonous animals took poison out of the planet Earth as their milk and kept this poison in snake holes. They made a calf out of takshaka. Oh, that's a very dangerous slok this morning. Snakes and scorpions. So the purport, with this material world, there are various types of living entities and different types of reptiles and scorpions mentioned in this verse. And they are also provided with their sustenance by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The point is that everyone is taking his eatables from the planet Earth. According to one's association with the material qualities, one develops a certain type of character. Payaha panam bhujanganam. If one feeds a serpent milk, the snake will simply increase his venom. However, if one supplies milk to a talented sage or saint, the sage will develop finer brain tissues by which he can contemplate higher spiritual life. Thus, the Lord is supplying everyone food, but according to the living entity's association with the modes of material nature, the living entity develops his specific character. Okay. So, Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahaganal Tanvitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, this morning's shlok is telling us about snakes and scorpions, all kinds of snakes and poisonous things. This is a perfect example. Our Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us this purport to say Krishna provides for them whatever they need to eat, whatever their association. This is a perfect example of Lord Krishna, if you ever want to use this example, of Lord Krishna not discriminating one living entity against the other, no matter what your nature. Right? So he is giving food to all. Whether you are a snake, you are a scorpion, you are a sage, you are a saint, you are Garuda, you are Hanuman, you all get sustenance equally. And it is actually a perfect example that Krishna looks at each one equally. So, the reason, obviously, of course, is Krishna has created us. And we are all his children. And no matter what you are and who you are, he loves you just the same. And this is another example of the milk that was given to the snake. He used that, the snake, the cobras, they use this milk according to this purport, and they develop even further venom. That's another really nice point. They develop further venom. But the same milk you give to the sage or a highly talented person, their brain tissues are intensified and they become more intelligent. So there is a saying that we use a lot. It's like one man's meat is another man's poison. Not that I would encourage you to eat meat, but there's a saying that somebody who would consider that as food, another one would consider as poison. Now, what is the secret behind that? The secret behind that is the kind of mode of nature you are associating with. The kind of mode of nature you are associating with. And this is an example of our own devotees. You will see some of our own devotees, they come to temple every day. They're brahmacharis. They're following regulative principles. The reason is that they are associating with the right kind of nature. And then comes a day when they have to leave for a job or a change of lifestyle. Maybe they got married or something. And then again, or maybe they just got a job. Simple. And so they are now associating with a different mode of nature. They are associating with people who in passion, in ignorance. So then what happens is they'll come to the temple, but you see some changes in their outward appearances. And that is due to the material nature. The snakes are actually mentioned here from the tiny snake to the cobra, to the larger snakes, to Takshaka, the chief of snakes. Now there are varieties of snakes, and they are all mentioned here, and Krishna gives them food, no matter what. So when we are actually associating with the other modes of nature, there are different levels. There are different levels. One day you might see a devotee very happy mood. One day you will see a devotee in not a very happy mood. It depends on the mode of nature that they have, or in the mind. So these snakes that are mentioned at different sizes, these snakes also imply and signify one other thing, very important thing. These snakes, they signify a very important thing in our own selves. What are the snakes in us? In different varieties. So I'm going to quote something from the Srimad Bhagavatam that will tell you what the snakes are in our lives. And you will be surprised. And I want to get the right reference so that you can actually, let's hope I get the right one. I've got a different pair of glasses. Here we go, I got it right. Now, this one is a direct quotation from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapters 1 to 6. And this particular one is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3.42. And in a nutshell, what are the poisonous snakes in us? When the senses are engaged in Lord's service, when the senses are engaged in the Lord's service, they are like poisonous snakes with their fangs removed. And so they are no longer dangerous. What does that mean? The poisonous snakes in us are our senses. That's what it means. The poisonous snakes in a character or a person are your senses. The senses are there to give you further enjoyment. So, the idea is to have, in order to remove the poison from the snake, so what happens is the snake charmers, they remove the fangs, those sharp things. So when the fangs are not there, they can't bite. And when they can't bite, they are no longer poisonous or dangerous to anyone. So the poison in you, the snakes in you, you've got to remove the fangs. Remove the fangs will make you non-dangerous. How do you remove the fangs from your senses? You apply it in the service of Lord Krishna. And then you become non-dangerous. So the Bhagavad Gita quotes 3.42, with intelligence, one has to seek out the constitutional position of the soul, then engage the mind, always in Krishna consciousness. That solves the whole problem. So a neophyte spiritualist, which is generally most of us if we are starting off in the Hare Krishna movement, neophyte spiritualist is generally advised to keep aloof from the object of senses. In other words, stay away from things that are intensifying the sense enjoyment. So stay away from those objects. Now what are those objects? Only you will know what it is that that increases the enjoyment. I mean, for a young person, right now, there is multimedia or social media, the reels or whatever it is they do. So they engage their senses in those things. For a child, they love to play PlayStation and video games. For an adult, whatever they apply their senses to. So that is not really Krishna conscious. So the fangs are out. These days, kids who have been playing these games of PlayStation, and what are the games they play? Those guns, they shoot each other. And then in America, they have their own guns, they allowed guns. And so this particular kid, I'm kind of not sure whether it was America or another country, maybe it was UK. The child went to the father because he wanted something, and the father said no. So the child said, I'll shoot you with my gun, because he'd been playing all these games. For him, it's a game. So he shot his father, dead. It's a true story. It was in the news. So, in hindsight speaking, if the father was Krishna conscious, what would he have taken his child to apply his senses with? What kind of games he would have given? So as parents, we have a responsibility. Now, one or two might have children, or at the moment, but most of you are not. But you are sitting here. So somewhere along the lines, your parents did something good, that you are here. But not all are fortunate. So the whole point of this is the application of senses. That's the class for this morning. Krishna provides for everyone equally. But it is how you apply your senses, how you use that. Just like the example that was given in this purport, the sage, the saint, uses that milk for his brain tissues to develop the milk. And so he becomes more intelligent, more knowledgeable. Whereas the snake, he uses the milk to create more poison, more venom. So it is what you do with what Krishna has given you, how you apply it. So let's take another example. If Krishna has given you a motor vehicle, if you use it in the service of transporting devotees, pretty good. If you use that motor vehicle as a racing car on the street with another person who's racing, well, you might meet an accident head-on. So that was one of the points that I found that was quite interesting. And here is Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, 3.9.6. 3.9.6. It says, because a pure devotee accepts everything in the sense of serving the Lord, the poisonous teeth of accumulation of wealth are extracted. If a snake has its poison removed and bites a man, there is no fatal effect. So the accumulation of wealth can also be a poison, other than your senses. It's what you have. That is actually why we recite, what do we recite in the morning? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. So this is what it applies to. You don't want to accumulate extra wealth that will, or even if you do, it is also mentioned here that a high-level devotee, very high level, they can aspire to accumulate wealth. Did you know that? But just like the saint who uses the milk for his knowledge, the high-level sannyasi or saint will accumulate that wealth in service of Krishna. That's what they will do. So that is why you see our Food for Life. You see our book distribution for free. You see every Sunday we have free prasadam. So the money has to come from somewhere. So we can aspire to be rich, by the way. You just have to use it for everybody else in service of Krishna. So you can aspire for anything, really, in service of Krishna. Anything. There was a nice example of a devotee. You know that, what are the 4 regulative principles, by the way? No? No meat eating, no fish, no eggs, yeah. No gambling, no illicit sex, and lastly, no intoxication. So 4. So out of the 4, the one that I'm choosing is the one that's, as an example, no gambling. What does that mean? No going to the casinos, no doing betting, whatever it is, the horses or whatever they bet on these days. They bet on babies these days. Did you know? Crawl the babies, make them crawl, and who's fastest, they bet on them. It's a crazy world. Kali Yuga is really crazy. The things that are happening is really crazy. So no gambling. We devotees were not allowed to gamble. One of the gambling sections is that we can't buy lottery tickets. So you can't play lotto. You can't. So one of my colleagues at work, I've known her for many years. She is attracted by Jagannath sometimes, but she's meat eater. But she doesn't come to the temple, but she senses some kind of positive energy whenever I'm around. So she buys lotto tickets when I'm with her. And she says, you are lucky for me, and I will win lotto. And I say, we are not allowed to buy lotto tickets. But I'm not asking you to buy it. I'll buy it. You just touch it. So she is asking me, you can please touch, because whenever I buy lotto tickets, I win, and she has won. But it's a coincidence. I don't take credit for it. But the whole point is that I refuse to buy it. So she said, I'll buy you lotto tickets, and then we can share some money. So I'm sure if it's in your name, we'll win big money. So, no, thank you. But I was trying to tell you the story of this devotee who wanted to buy lotto tickets. He approached his spiritual master. Can I buy lottery tickets? Because we are not allowed to. And the spiritual master said, no. And he said, but I'm going to use that money to build the temple. So I'm going to buy the ticket. So don't you dare try it. by the way, because you are not as high level as that devotee, obviously. But he was a pure devotee with a pure heart, and he did win the lotto. He bought it, but he gave everything to the temple, never kept it. But I wouldn't recommend that you do it. But you can aspire to work very hard and collect money for the temple, or, to serve someone. But that was a lucky story, by the way. My spiritual master told me, don't mess around with lotto tickets. The reason is, we were talking about engaging our senses. So one of them, obviously, is the main reason is we keep to the 4 regulative principles, our senses. By the way, if you follow the 4 senses, the 4 regulative principles strictly all your life, and chant 16 rounds, without breaking your regulative principles, and 16 rounds daily, you are a high-level devotee. Did you know that? Why? Because people out there, you'll be surprised, can't keep the 4 regulative principles, and they can't do their 16 all the time. They can't. It's a fact. Devotees, initiated devotees. So if you are able to maintain that for life, you are pretty much higher than everybody else. It's a fact. Because I can say it because I've been in the movement for a long time, so I know. By the time you're my age, with that kind of observation, then you will see the difference. And you will also see whose senses the poisons are there, whose fangs are removed, whose fangs are still there. You can tell. How? By the behavior, by the words they speak. Some of the behaviors are not acceptable. So this particular devotee has some work to do. So like Krishna, he gives food to the cobras. You also will give the acknowledgement to such a devotee whose fangs have not been removed. You respect them. Obviously, you don't associate with them. You associate with someone whose fangs are removed, right? Because you are who you associate with. You are who you eat. Not who you eat, what you eat. You are what you eat, and you are who you associate with. So, but that doesn't mean we should crucify somebody who is still got a lot of work to do to remove their poisons. So I'm going to ask you, what is your view on somebody who needs to remove their fangs, who's still got a bit of poison? What would you do for this person? Ideas? Yes? Pray for them, that's a good one. Give them prasadam. Give them association a little bit. But don't get too close to them, but give them your association. And slowly, the fangs will remove, slowly. So, this is an example of compassion. So you have compassion. If you are saying pray for them, that is compassion, the quality of compassion. The only way you can pray for somebody genuinely is because you feel kindness for them here. You can only pray for somebody if you are compassionate genuinely. It's not like lip service. Please forgive the person, Krishna. Okay, now I'm going. I've got some stuff to do. No, it's not like that. And our devotees, they have this compassion. You've seen them, right? When somebody is sick, they'll chant extra rounds just for that person. That's compassion. So the fangs, those are our senses. Now, let's see, what else can I actually give you? A nice story. We won't talk for long today. A perfect example of a snake whose fangs have been removed. We know from our story. He's a very famous snake. Krishna danced on him, removed all the poison out of him. Who was that? Kaliya Nag. And I'm from the land of Kaliya, by the way. Kaliya Nag, he really exists. Did you know that? He's one of the pastimes of Lord Krishna that still is present today, up till this age. When Krishna, Kaliya Nag was poisoning Yamuna river. And he was poisoning all the entities over there, living entities, the fish. And he was generally making a nuisance of himself. And snakes by nature are envious. So Krishna decided to give some relief to the residents of Vrindavan and save those living entities. He went and jumped on the snake, danced. All the poison was removed. And Krishna was about to kill him. He was almost dead. Do you know what saved him? What saved Kalyanag? Yes. So it pays to have a good wife. He had very good wives. All of them. They were all devotees of Lord Krishna. They were like saints, actually. So they went like this to Lord Krishna. And the prayers of the Nagapatnis are something to read in your spare time if you want to know how to pray. They were perfect prayers. They were so perfect that Krishna decided to forgive Kalyanag. Sometimes I joke with the residents of Krishna Kalya temple in Fiji. They say, Mataji, where are you? Where are you? I said, well, I'm nowhere. You worship me on the altar. I'm one of the Nagapatnis like this. This is my incarnation as Syamapriya in this life. Just a joke. But yes, those Nagapatnis saved Kalyanag. And this is a real life poisonous. He was the worst of the poisonous snakes. And he exists. And the story goes, if you really want to know, Fiji in the 1980s? Yes, in the 1980s, had a military coup. And what happened was there was a fighting, military people, there was no bloodshed. It was the first military coup in the world where no blood was shed. Nobody was killed. But the military took over the government, the elected government. So they were trying to damage the temples, which is what's happening now. And they came to our ISKCON temple, Krishna Kalya temple. And some of the youths from a certain village, they're native Fijians, so they look like African built, their features are like Africans. They came and made some handmade bombs in the bottle of alcohol or whatever it is they do, and they threw it on our temple. And our temple caught fire. The roof caught fire, and the roof just above the altar caught fire. So the temple started burning, but luckily the deities were saved, the deities were not hurt. And they were residents in the temple, they were living there. So it's good that brahmacharis are living here. Something happens, you can save the deities. So the deities were saved. So now I'm coming to the point, how Kalyanag really exists. So Kalya is in Fiji, because when Krishna chased him away out of Yamuna river, he said, you go away from here and go to Ramanik Dweep. Ramanik Dweep means beautiful waters. And Fiji's name is Ramanik Dweep. In the oceans of Fiji is known as Ramanik Dweep in our Vedic scriptures. And Fiji is known as Ramanik Desh, the beautiful country. It's like Hawaii. So Kalya was sent there. So when Kalya came to know that our temple, which is actually his namesake, Krishna Kalya temple, was under fire, it was under attack, he went into the dream of the chief of that village, because they live in villages and there's a chief, tribal thing. And he said, if in his dream, if any more of your residents here attack my temple, I will kill you all. He came and gave a warning as a snake. And he told the chief, and then the chief next day warned all his residents in the village, don't go there, don't do anything, don't burn the temple. But those 4 or 6 youths who did it, they were young men, within 2 years they died unnatural causes. They died. So that's how Kalya, and that's a perfect example of a snake whose fangs have been removed, and they're now serving devotees of the Lord. So if you pray for someone, if you give prasadam to someone, if you give them association, the fangs will be removed and they will become good devotees. And so Kalyanag is a perfect example. When Prabhupada came to Fiji in the 70s, there were nobody there. Actually, I was there when he came. And there was no temples, Hare Krishna temples. And no one knew who Krishna was in that actual sense. The Indians knew Krishna, but in a different way. Like they prayed to Lord Krishna with all the other demigods and everything. So they didn't know the Supreme Personality of Godhead was Lord Krishna, most of them. So he came and stayed with the Gujaratis, and he asked, was asking about Fiji, and they said, oh, Prabhupada, there are no snakes in Fiji. Just, when they were having a general talk. And so Prabhupada said, oh, there are no snakes here. So then that must mean, this is what happened. This is what exactly Prabhupada said. If there are no snakes here, that must mean Kalya Nag is here. Why? Because he eats snakes. That's his breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So he said, Prabhupada said, okay, so if Kalya Nag is here, then a temple should be built for him, Krishna Kalya. So this is the only temple that doesn't have like Radha Gopinath, Radha Giridhari, Radha Golokananda. It's just Krishna Kalya. No Radha there. But there are 3 altars. So the 3rd altar has got Radha Govindaji, Lalita Vishakha. But the main deity is Krishna Kalya, where he is dancing on the snake. And the 4 Nagapatnis are there, their hands folded in prayer. The other first altar is Gauranitai. So this is about poisons and snakes. So I'm giving you a perfect example of a snake whose fangs have been removed. Now those people who wanted to see Kalya Nag, they've gone to hunt for him. And those who saw him came out mad. They just lose their mind. And it is also said that in dark, so if you can imagine midnight, no stars, no moon, how dark it is. It's black. And then suddenly it becomes daylight at that time, just like now. So that's how shiny his jewel is, because he's got so many hoods. I think he's got 1008 or something like that. I'm not sure how many hoods, but he's got jewels on the hoods. And they shine as if it's daylight. So scientists have been looking for Kalya Nag. They haven't found him yet. And all the poison has not been removed from Kalya because he came down the mountain where he lives in the western side of Fiji. So when devotees come, they go and have a look where Kalya resides. They want to go and have a look. So the mountain has got a shape of a snake coming down, because when Kalya slithered down the mountain, it was because of his poison. The grass doesn't grow there. So you can see the trail. So these are some of the signs. And then there's another one which my parents saw when they were in that south, in another island, not the main island, little stone that looks like the shape of a snake. It was about yay high. So I've got a very old photo of that stone that looks like a snake. And the funny thing is that snake keeps growing and growing and growing. Finally, he hit the roof. So they increased the roof height and then kept growing and still growing, and the hoods are going on the side. It's a stone, but it's a deity that is a deity of the Nag, Kalya Nag, but it's taking shape over the years. So the Fijian Indians, they call that snake Nag Patthar because it looks like a stone. But a deity is being formed right now, and it's going higher and higher. So I've got the photo where the stone was small, but now I've got a photo, it's really high, so I can actually compare. It is really growing. And beneath that, the Pujari says that there's some stones, hissing stones, so Kalya Nag comes there. That's his residing place. So that is a bit of a story for you. I would recommend, if you're going to Fiji, go to Krishna Kalya temple. It's an amazing temple. The products of Krishna Kalya, well, I'm one of them, but our pujaris here, they're all Krishna Kalya devotees from Fiji. Ananda Moya, Varutapa, Bhaja Govinda. There might be a few others I can't remember off the top of my head, but very good devotees from there. Not that I'm putting down other devotees, but yeah, they're quite good devotees. That products of the temple are quite good. They're worldwide. They're also in Texas, Dallas, UK, because Tamal Krishna Maharaj spread them all over, trained them and spread them all over the world. So that's the story of snakes. The snakes in you are your senses. Control them, apply them for Krishna. Don't buy lotto tickets, those kind of things. Follow the 4 regulatory principles. Have a good association, develop compassion for those who have not got those qualities. Any comments or questions? Thank you for listening. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam Puran ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai.